A couple of years ago, the Super Bowl took place in Atlanta. To be exact, it was 2019. It seems like so long ago, but in actuality, it was less than 2 years ago. As you know, the Super Bowl was yesterday, so this is the reason why I'm actually putting this out today. For us, it was an incredible event. We had tons of parties that actually contracted us to do, whether we were doing it for the NFL directly, whether we were doing it for Delta, we had another event for Young Jeezy, one of the rappers. Of course, Shaquille O'Neal had something called Shaq's Funhouse, which is a whole nother episode, which we'll discuss later on. And we had parties everywhere. And what I'm going to discuss, one of the parties which I should be proud of, and in a sense I am kind of proud of, it was actually one of our biggest failures that we've ever done before, and this is a story coming up right here. This company contracted us, and they contracted us to do valet parking for about 4 days. So I think it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday was going to be the big day. And by that, each day was pretty much 100 people. It was a private, exclusive event being held by Wheels Up. What Wheels Up is, a company that you don't know, I hate saying this, but it's the Uber of private air travel. So if you needed to fly somewhere privately, Wheels Up is a company that did it. And I think they have NetJets and a couple other things that are pretty comparable. What you don't know, that Wheels Up is going public, and this is the first time a private aviation company is actually going public, and we'll talk about that in a later time. But anyway, Wheels Up contracted us to work this event, and we had worked it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and now we're doing Saturday. Wednesday and Thursday and Friday was super simple. I think we had 5 valets out there for 100 people coming in, and that included Ubers, and also this was something that they were working with BMW. So BMW had their corporate cars, the 7 Series, taking people from Peachtree DeKalb Airport over to this event. So on average, the valets were parking 30 cars a night, no problems at all. So on the last day, on Saturday, they said, hey, that's our bigger day. We're actually inviting 200 people. And with the 200 people, I want you to give me 10 valets. I don't want people to wait for anything. This is a VIP event. These people are flying over in their private jets, coming to this event for the NFL, and then going on to other events later on that evening or the next day, which was the Super Bowl. So we started working the event, and I wasn't there. I had a manager on point, but I said, you know what, let me swing by, make sure everything is going smoothly. I've been checking every single day, and remember what I told you on the last one? You have to inspect what you expect, and I wanted to make sure we had a good event. So let me stop by here, make sure the valets are doing fine. So I went to breakfast with some friends, and then afterwards I'm like, hey, let me just swing by this party real quick, make sure everything is okay. And to actuality, J-Lo was supposed to be not presenting, but performing at this party. So I'm like, it could get kind of crazy, and also I might get to see J-Lo. So let's go swing by and see what's up. So we get to this event, and it's fine. Everything is good. Cars are starting to come in. I want to make sure everybody's ready to go. And the way this was situated, we were in a private parking lot, and there was a parking lot. I think our lot held about 20 to 30 cars. Then directly across the street, there was another parking lot that held about 80 cars. So between the 80 there and the 100 here, we had 100 cars. That's all they were expecting at the most. So I'm like, 10 valets, this is a cakewalk for us, but let me swing by anyway. So the people start coming in. I get out of the car. I actually start ticketing or handing out tickets to the customers, let the valets run, go park them, and do everything like that. Also, what's important to point out, whenever we have a private party, we call them coding, and that is letting people know where we are going to park these vehicles. So if they're across the street, we have a code for that. If they're in this lot, we have a code for that. So when it comes time, after we park the car, we need to find out where that car is. It says across the street, space number 4, or row number 4, space number 5. Boom, we know exactly where to go get it. So this happens, and it's actually, cars are coming in at a pretty good pace. I'm like, okay, that's either way. I don't know if people inside were verifying tickets or whatever the case is, but as we're going, more and more cars are starting to come in. So I call one of my buddies. I'm like, hey, just move this car, move that here, move this car here. And honestly, he really shouldn't be, because he doesn't work for the company, but I trust him. I've been friends with him 25, 30 years. Go move these cars. So we start moving the cars, and the pace is coming back. And as soon as the guys get back, we just throw the car keys at the bottom of the box. I get another one of my friends to, hey, do me a favor, start just hanging these keys up on the hooks underneath. And it turns out that this party started at 12 o'clock. It should have been over at maybe 6 o'clock. We got destroyed. I looked up and cars were everywhere. Cars were coming in. There was a line down the street. And here's what the problem is. This was on a two-way road. So one car's going this direction, cars going in this direction. So there was no turning lane or anything like that. So we had traffic now backed up because all these cars are coming in. So we fill up the lot across the street. And here's the other thing. When they come into the lot, it was difficult for us to get out of the lot. So we had an officer, and the officer was stopping traffic so we can go across the street. All of a sudden, I get word, Alex, we filled up the lot across the street. So I said, okay, let's start filling up in here creatively. So at that point, it's now 110 cars between this lot and the lot there. I look up and there's a line down the street in both directions. I said, something's up here. Now, also, I'm getting word from my friend that's hanging up keys that, hey, some of these keys are not labeled, meaning there's no code on it. I said, no problem, put those to the side, and when we slow down, I'll tell those valets to go back and code these cars individually. Well, that never happened. These cars kept coming in for the next 4 hours. We were just getting destroyed. Cars coming in, one after another, after another, after another. I'm like, wait, we got to slow down here. So I call extra valets, and I think I get 1 or 2 more extra valets plus me plus my friends. That's now 15 valets, and we are parking cars anywhere and everywhere. So the valets are coming back to me, hey Alex, we filled up that lot, what should we do? I'm like, well, and here's the important part. When we have private parties, when I come out and I survey, or the parties or one of the managers do it, we have to determine where these cars are going to be parked. Yes, you have 100 people, 200 people coming in, but where are we going to park these cars? Oh, we have a lot across the street, 80 cars, plus we have this one. We only expect 100 cars. Perfectly fine. Well, when these cars start coming in and we don't have any more space, we have to now just start looking. Now, we had a MARTA station, and MARTA is our transit authority. So we started parking there, which is completely illegal because that's public property and we didn't get permission for it. There's a church across the street. We start parking in there. We start parking at a school down the block. And honestly, not to be funny, there's an area over here called Chinatown, and we started parking down over here. Cars were coming in and they would not stop. It got to the point where the managers of the venue came outside and started helping us too, ticketing cars, so at least we can start moving these cars around. Cars were everywhere, every single direction. And I have to say this, by the end of the night, we had over 319 cars. We were only supposed to have 100 cars. And we had 319 cars. And we had these cars within a mile of both directions. Now, add that to the point that some of these valets did not code the tickets. When we looked up, people started coming out. And we have now a pile of keys that don't have labels, so we don't know if they're this way or that way. This was insane. Man, I cannot emphasize how much frustration I had. And honestly, the venue had frustration with us. But in hindsight, this is what I should have done. When something like that happened, and I tell my guys this, I should have shut the lot down. The lot should have been shut down so we can have a powwow real quick, code these keys, and then figure out where are we going to park these cars. But we were literally thrown into the flame. And these are like all the NFL greats. We had someone come up and say, don't move that G-Wagon. It was a brand new 2019 G-Wagon. That was a new redesign on it. They said, that's Russell's car. Who the hell's Russell? Turns out it's Russell Wilson. He's in that car, leave it there, keep it up front, and it's kind of blocking everything. All of a sudden, I see 2 motorcycles, police motorcycles come up. There's a Suburban or Tahoe in the middle, and then 2 more motorcycles. And they come into opposing lane, and they come right into the middle of our parking lot. I really didn't have enough time to look at people because I was running frantically in both directions, but they said that was Roger Goodell. He was the commissioner for the entire NFL, and this was him coming to the party. Now, the interesting point, J-Lo never even showed up, or at least not that I saw. But what I did see, I saw Run DMC. I didn't even see them. I heard them. So what happened, Run DMC was inside. They were performing. They came in a Mercedes CLS. There were all these people. JJ Watts was there. All of these people. Richard Sherman. All of these people were at this event. And this was like the big, huge NFL party. And they didn't tell us this. It turns out it was over 1,000 people. And this looks bad because right now we're out of control. We didn't have the parking for it, or at least organized parking. In a case like this, I should have had at least 30 valets there. I had my personal friends helping me. I had extra valets that were coming in, and these people were pissed. And honestly, if they told me this in the beginning, I would have told them this is not the parking lot for it. Now, here's the messed up part. People were coming out and they were saying, hey, can I just come and get my keys? And we were still parking cars. We were parking cars from 12 o'clock until 5:30. But when people were coming out asking where their keys were, they were still, and here's the other issue. We had a skinny podium. There's different types of podiums that we have. We have fold-up podiums, skinny podiums, big podiums for huge parties. If someone tells me it's only a 100-person party, I'm going to use my skinny podium. Skinny podium's fine. It holds 100 keys, perfectly fine. If I know it's going to be a big-time party, then we're going to have the bigger podiums so we can have 100, 200, almost 300 keys in this podium. But this was only, so we had a small skinny podium, and it doesn't work well when you have doubles and triples on the same number. Now, if you're a valet, you know what that means. Otherwise, we're putting 2 or 3 different tickets on the same hook, and it doesn't do well. So that's where the disorganization came from. So the arena was so pissed off with us. They came out with a table, and we spread all the keys out on the table, and that's not how we do things for security reasons. Now, we have to be lucky. I'm glad nothing got stolen because people were just saying, oh, that's my BMW, brand new 2019 750, and they were just grabbing their keys, not knowing we actually had 10 of them or 20 of them. We had so many BMW keys. I wish I could have taken pictures, but as you know, I was running ragged trying to keep everything organized. It was also at a certain point, and I shouldn't even tell you this, but this is funny. The party was a mixture of black people, white people, Asian people, all these different things, but at first it turned out to look like it was going to be a very uppity and kind of snooty event. But when Run DMC came in, like I said, I didn't see them, but I heard them. And all I heard was, yeah, this is Run DMC. I wanted to give a shout out to Jam Master Jay, rest in peace. And honestly, I don't think the white people like hearing that. They thought it was some gang event. And all of a sudden we looked up and there were like 30 or 40 white people who had just exited out of this event and they wanted their cars now. Mind you, this is still only like 2 o'clock and we have cars coming in still lined in both directions, and all my valets currently are being used just to park cars and getting them off this main lot. It was so disorganized, and the event got pissed at us. They said we were the ones that were at blame, but in actuality it wasn't. I should have stopped it, but since they were such VIP customers and these people were getting chauffeured over, I had to tell them, hey, this is beyond what our contract said. We should have had at least 30 valets here because we were running almost at a certain point a mile to go get cars. When other people were coming out, they were getting so impatient. They're like, just give me my keys. Where's this car parked? I look at the label. There's no tag. I assume, okay, they're parked in the biggest lot. Just go next door to the MARTA. They would go to the MARTA parking lot. They didn't find their car. They would come back 30 minutes later. They're like, I still didn't see it. I'm like, okay, go that way to Chinatown. I think there's more cars over there. I was so embarrassed. Then I get a call from one of my friends that says, hey, Alex, one of the guys from Run DMC, they can't find their car. It's a Mercedes CLS 55. We can't find it. So I start hightailing it. I'm looking in every single parking lot. It was disorganized, and this happens when you get out of control. I don't care who you are. They said we were very unprofessional. We weren't unprofessional at all. We did learn a big lesson that we should have been more prepared. Now, I take the fault completely because I had 3 guys there who didn't have pens and who weren't coding cars, and that accounted for probably about 50 keys, maybe 40 to 50 keys not being coded, which created a major disorganization. They said it was our fault because we didn't ask for help sooner. I'm like, what do you mean? I called for extra valets. I was asking for help. I'm not going to have outsiders come in and start parking cars for us. That creates a huge liability for us. But this was a bad event. Now, it was great. I loved it, but at the same time, we were blessed. I'll tell you this, we were blessed. The main reason we were blessed, the weather was good. As you can tell in some of the pictures, we're actually wearing short sleeve shirts because it was almost 65, 70 degrees in February. Now today, I think it's maybe 50 degrees, but yesterday I think it was 34 degrees here. So we were very lucky, and actually it snowed in Atlanta yesterday, last night. So we were very lucky, but this was a crazy event that will go down in history as, man, it's a big learning lesson. And this shows you, like I told you before, these events can get out of control and people will sit there and say, oh yeah, there's only 100 people or 200 people coming in and 1,000 people come in. I don't care who you are. I should have shut down a lot, but these people were insistent on letting these people keep coming in. So at the end of the day, I looked at one of my Fitbits, and the Fitbit, I think I had ran over 21,000 steps, which is over 10 miles. And I was the one mainly in the parking lot doing a lot of ticketing and running around in the immediate area. So I can only guess how many miles that my valets had on theirs. Yeah, this was a crazy event, and Super Bowl was insane. I did learn a lesson that I will make sure we don't do anything like that again. But what lessons did you learn from this story? Tell me about it. Anyway, I appreciate you watching. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, this one was pretty crazy, and I think I'm going to get a lot of questions about this, but I'll try to be as helpful as possible with the responses. So thank you for watching. Keep it up. I have a whole bunch more videos coming out our way.